So we are live now. Thank you all for joining. As the time go, as we go on in the section, we'll keep admitting people who are going to join us. It's another wonderful safety management training and enlightenment series, and this is safety trainings, our series 53, meaning we have done 53 webinars since the inception of these wonderful enlightenment sessions. And we have with us, who is going to discuss with us a very important topic that is very crucial to every sector, to every aspect of our lives, even aside from the workplace, even as individuals in our various homes. This is very crucial and very important. And with me discussing this very important topic is Mr. Akinwale Vincent Omoni, and he is a health, safety, and security, environment, and sustainability expert with over 14 years of working experience that goes across FMCG, that is food manufacturing, consumable goods, if I'm correct, food and fast-moving consumable goods, food and beverages, construction, and oil and gas logistics. Is Six Sigma Green Belt holder and undertaking multiple belt projects using both agile and traditional methodologies. It possesses industry-relevant certifications and experience, which helps in systemic problem-solving of organizational operational challenges. He adopts a critical analysis approach and develop and deploy lean management tools for proactive risk assessment with the aim of controlling risk, avert crisis, and maintain a readiness for the culture. It possesses vast knowledge in project management and security process safety, operational health and safety, physical security, environment design and management. He is a certified master trainer, a fellow of the Emergency Crisis, Disaster Safety, Environment and Risk Management Institute, and a graduate member of IOSH. It's my humble privilege to welcome to the podium to give us the training of Mr. Akinwale Omoni Vincent. Over to you, sir. Mr. Vincent.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And thank you so much, Mr. Waliu. Please, can you confirm you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, and we can see your slide too. Oh,
good. So I'm so happy to be here today. I would like to ask Mr. Waliu, this is the second time of myself coming on this program, right?
Very well, sir, you're correct.
Do we have anybody that has come here twice?
Yes, we have a couple of people that have come twice. We have Mr. Michael. I think we said that was twice.
Oh, okay. If we... oh, okay. Okay. I was looking for some records to actually break. It's like that record is already broken already. Okay, maybe I'll try next time. Maybe I'll be the third or the fourth person. Maybe I'll be the first person that will have anchored this program for the third or fourth time. That said, good evening, everybody. Just like Mr. Waliu said, I know some of us are on different time zones. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We see be applicable to fire protection. This is something that is actually very important to me. It's something I have passion for, and every opportunity I have to talk about fire protection, I love to embrace it. I love to educate people about it. And thanks so much, Mr. Waliu, for this platform where we can actually share ideas. So it's going to be a two-way discussion. I'll be sharing a couple of things I've learned, and I strongly believe that we have people on the call who have vast knowledge around this subject matter too, and we're able to add one or two things, to what I'm saying. So I won't bore you with the details of talking about fire prevention, fire triangle, how does fire come to place, I will not go into that basics. I strongly believe that we have professionals on the call who have, who have gone beyond that basics. But at the end of this section, I want us to be able to talk about, to understand some statistics when it comes to fire, especially when we talk about fire in Nigeria. How has it been? Have we improved over the years? And that will form the background or the foundation where we will actually build this entire discussion on. We need to understand how important this topic is, to Nigeria, to the nation, to the industry itself. So look at some background and we'll check some statistics. Then we also try to understand when we talk about active and passive protection. What exactly do we mean by active? What exactly do we mean by passive? And what are the components, that distinguish each one from the other? We understand the differences, we understand the limitations also, of the active protection, which I feel is one that most of us are actually used to. When we look at the components of the passive protection itself, by the end of this course, we need to understand the components of the passive protection, understand the principles of compartment. That is one thing that is so beautiful about the passive protection, which we also look at. Then we also look at the National Building Code. The beautiful thing about National Building Code, which I will explain in details later, is that all countries, UK, Canada, Australia, they have their building codes. And I think there's a review presently ongoing for UK, around their national building code. I think they have another one that's replacing what they had. So likewise in Nigeria, we have one that is meant to be a guide for those in the industry. So we have a look at it also. Okay, so a little check on the background. I was just surveying the internet, going to the dailies to see some of the incidents that we've had around fire. And I can see this one on January 24, 2021, the depot Nigerian army in Zaria was engulfed in fire, destroying 15 blocks. That's an incident that happened in Zaria. Fire incident causing more than Boko Haram. That means the number of deaths, the number of damage that we have experienced in the country due to fire, compared to what has happened, with the terrorist group, is actually we've actually experienced more harms from fire incidents, whether from the small fires or from the big fires. The other one says Nigeria's Federal Fire Service has identified electrical sparks as a major cause of fire outbreaks across the country in 2021. I strongly believe that we, everybody here, have a story to tell when it comes to whether a near miss or an actual accident or an incident around fire in our homes, in our place of work, in our churches, in our public spaces. I believe if I actually pass the mic around, there will be a lot, for people to actually talk about. Nigeria recorded 2,056 fire incidents and over 1 trillion losses in 2022. That was last year. A total of 30 people died in 716 fire incidents recorded in Kaduna State in 2021. That's from the director of the State Fire Service, Paul Aboy. It further said that gas and special services caused about 151 fire incidents, while cigarette stop and bush burning caused 133 fires. Those are some of the little things that we feel that we neglect, that we feel are not actually important. And look at what they've actually led to. A breakdown of lives lost from each cause is electrical equipment, fire too. So I will do a further breakdown on this but this is just for us to see why this topic is quite important. A lot has been lost to fire in the past 2 years. In fact, when I checked the records for the past 10 years, I was amazed with the number of people that we have lost due to fire. whether in the industries, whether at home. And we also see the breakdown, some of these causes of fire, So still going around, some of the tabloids, is a fire outbreak destroys property worth millions in Lagos. LSDPC building on fire. Fire outbreak destroys plastic crate warehouse in Lagos. Ibadan market fire, 3 buildings razed. NEMA. Fire incident claims couples 4 children in Lagos State. And lastly, I have it here. So between January and April 2023, 79 recorded fire incidents raged through 46 overcrowded IDP camps, leaving
Am I the one who can't hear him, or is the network?
Same here, I can't hear him as well.
I think it's the network. Hello, Mr. Akinwale, can you hear me? Please,
I think it's his network.
Okay, please, can you change that?
I think he'll be back. Let's give him some time.
Okay. I hope he joins us back very soon.
Hello, sirs.
Yes, we
Yeah, with you.
Mr. Are you back, sir? Okay.
Yes, I'm back now.
Okay, please, can go ahead.
Okay, I think I need to reshare. Sorry, my network went off.
Okay. Maybe you need to reshuffle your.
Try to share. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay. Please, is my screen up now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So going deeper into the analysis, this is a table that shows, number of fires that we had in 2014, and we also look at the one that happened between 2009 and 2014, and we also have where it actually happened, block of flats, duplex, high-rise buildings like that. But the information I actually want to see from here is that if you look at the number of fires we had, from residential buildings, was actually huge, and virtually all of them led to a fatality. We live in a part of the world whereby records are not too accurate. I can tell you that there's so many fires, there's so many deaths that were not captured in this data. At least I can remember that there was a fire accident in my apartment last year, not in my building actually. It happened in my neighbor's apartment, and I'm not sure it was captured. Even though we were able to address the fire before it escalated into something that we could not control. But I'm not sure the data was actually captured. So that tells you, yeah, we're getting there. And I must say, I don't know if we have anybody from the Lagos State Safety Commission on the call, but if you live in Lagos, so trust me, you are quite lucky. I've had the opportunity of living outside Lagos and also to work with people in the industry. And I can tell you that Lagos has one of the best structures when it comes to Safety Commission. The Lagos State Safety Commission are doing a wonderful job, and I must give them a lot of kudos. Yes, we are far away from where we are meant to be, but if you are to compare apple for apple, what is happening in Lagos State and what's happening outside Lagos, you know that Lagos is like the Canaan land, where everybody actually wants to get to. So some of this info data actually from Lagos State. Most data are not actually coming from the other part of the country. But the information is to see how important it is that fire protection is also seen as a critical discussion when it comes to our homes, when it comes to our facilities. That's that. Then the other slide I have here says fatal fires by the number of deaths. This is just to support the same story I gave earlier. So a lot of lives have been lost to fires. I know that in industries, if you look at the previous slide, industrial building, the numbers are quite low. Yeah, well, I don't want to. A lot of things are not actually disclosed to the public. There's a lot of management of incidents, and so I don't know, in as much as I won't like to contest this, but I also feel that there should be more, that that could have happened that is not captured in this table. So when we're talking about active fire protection, what exactly are we referring to? And this is something that we all are used to. When we talk about the active, we're talking about the ones we see, your alarm system that you have installed in your facility, your fire extinguishers that you have positioned at different areas of your facility. Those are the active fire protection. And the word active is coming because of the fact that an action is actually required to activate this equipment. You have your manual call points that you need someone to actually break, the glass to activate the alarm. You need someone to actually pick up your extinguisher, and try to fight a small fire before it becomes big. So we can go on and on like that. We also have the automatic one too, in terms of your FM200 installations, your sprinkler installations, your deluge systems, and we can go on and on like that. An example of an element is a fire extinguisher requiring manual use or sprinklers. I mentioned that already. So we can mention so many things that fall under the active fire protection. From the hose shields, to the extractions, the ventilators, and on like that. They are all part of the active. And if you actually check your homes, if you actually check your facilities, we have this installed, whether it's be the conventional systems, or you have the addressable systems, or you can even have the combination of the two, in your facility. So that's how far we've actually gone on that, which is quite a beautiful thing, But as beautiful as the active is, it has some limitations. There's some limitations that we have been able to observe around the active fire protection equipment, which are things that the passive fire protection helps us to actually take care of. The alarm systems will not put out your fire. Alarm systems don't put out a fire. Yes, it may be a chain of reaction. The alarm comes off, there's a signal conditioner somewhere, there's something activates something, then you have your FM200, or you have your sprinklers activated, or things like that. But the alarm system in itself will not quench a fire. There's always, a need to actually depend on humans, and we know, and humans is their level of competency is measured with kids in terms of knowledge, in terms of ability, in terms of training, in terms of experience. So there's still a limit to it. If you have 20 persons in the facility, you may not have more than 1 or 2 people who can actually fight a fire successfully, a small fire successfully. Some people will rather take to their heels, some people will just start screaming, and start creating a lot of sin around it. So that tells you where we are when it comes to depending on humans to actually help us fight these kind of situations. Another limitations that we have, especially in this part of the world, is use of incompetent installers, to fix our active fire protection. The fact that Baba Seriki has been fixing alarm systems for the past 20 years or 10 years, or he knows about cabling. So we give him our alarm system, and he fixes our alarm systems. Forgetting that there is science behind fixing of alarm systems, positioning of detectors, positioning of manual call points, positioning of your bells, your sounders, all these, go with the standards. But we just feel, okay, he has been doing it for the past 20 years. He has been doing it for the past 10 years. He's the one doing that. But it is one thing to have something installed. It's for another thing that thing is actually effective or complies to standard. So there are two different things, and which is one gap that we as professionals in the industry, we need to actually awaken that part of what we actually do. Are my installers installing according to standards? Do I even understand the standard? Because you can't challenge what you don't even understand. So it is very, very important that we build our knowledge, and our competency, around things like this. And to make it worse again, we have so many inferior items in the Nigerian market space. As an installer, I can tell you that there's so many inferior detectors you will see around, different strange names from China, from India, and if you're not careful, yes, they might detect, but what is the reliability, that these devices actually give to you? So I'm going to try to identify some of the limitations, that we have found ourselves in this part of the world, relying on the active fire protection. Your suppressor system will put out fire if well installed and maintained, but how adequate is it with the issues of incompetent persons? We invite somebody to our facility to come and install our FM200. Have you even asked yourself, are you sure the gas inside the cylinder is FM200? Are the connections done properly? The pipings, the nozzles, are they done against standards? I know that in this part of the world, we have a lot of issues around standards, especially when it comes to enforcing the standards. But in some climes, a technician, will ensure, because he knows that there's somebody coming to check. Like one of my ogas will say, he says, people will do what you inspect, not what you expect. If they know, okay, fine, there's always somebody to come and check and certify that, okay, fine, this thing has been done against standards, in alignment with standards, then they will do it right. But in Nigeria, we don't have that. Nobody has ever come to check. Even when the fire service come around, they just say you have extinguishers, you have alarm systems, you are good. They issue a fire certificate. Now in the UK, they are casting fire certificates. There's nothing like a fire certificate anymore. So these are some of the things that ensures that they get the best standard. And those are some of the things that we need to bring into our own system, also to our own industry. So it is very, very important, So I see here, when we talk about smoke detectors, this is just a chart that tells us about some of the incidents that has happened, with some faulty detectors. If you look at this now, it says unknowing whether these are some fatal fires that happened within a period of about 1 year, and some of the causes were actually picked up, in line with the availability of the devices like smoke detectors. So about less than 20%, they were known whether the smoke detector was present or not. There's about less than 20% to smoke detector present, but was unknown whether they were functional or not. The smoke detectors were actually present, but they failed to actually function. Maybe one Baba has installed your detector, and you don't know, as far as it's actually blinking light, you say that it's working. So with the routine checks, the ensuring that I can find the contractor selection process, am I using a certified person to get this done? All those are things that we as professionals in the industry, we need to start checking out. Then smoke detector present and functioned. Beautiful. Then we have a large number of buildings or fires that occur that we don't even have a smoke detector installed. And this data we have here covers both residential apartment and also even in industries. I visited one of my clients' facility, because once I visit the facility like that, I try to look around, what's happening around there. And I was amazed that a company as big as that don't have a fire alarm system installed. And we have what do you call it? Machines worth millions of naira, millions of dollars, installed in that facility. To me, it sounds a bit funny if you spend so much money to start a business, to put up machines together, and you don't have a functional, fire protection system in place to protect your million that you have invested on. It's funny, So these are some of the things that we see in the industry. So I have a couple of data here also. So fatal home fires by smoke detector function. This was between 2009 and 2014. No smoke detector present, 61%. Now, when we talk about even our residential homes now, people assume that smoke detectors are strictly meant for industries and maybe for public places like hotels, like the mall. But what about our residential home? Now, there's a boom in the real estate sector, especially in Lagos, in Delta, in Ogun. Buildings are coming up. People are spending millions of naira to put up structures. You spend so much money like that, and you don't have a detector and a lamp panel installed on it. And how do we even incorporate this? There's something I saw, during one of my travels, and for a block of buildings, public buildings, private owned rather, I saw detectors installed, and I saw a kind of the way it was wired, that the closest fire service station, will be notified immediately if there's an alarm in the particular building or the particular flat. So amazing that they don't even need to, and of course, there are a couple of false alarms. And if a false alarm comes up in your facility, you are charged for it, because by then the firefighters are already at your doorstep. That tells you, how a system works. And that's the kind of thing that we also need to start bringing. Yeah, I know it's still a long way to go in terms of what
I guess we have lost its connection again. Please kindly exercise patience while we try to get him back. The part of what that we have here, and it's probably also the rainy season. And whenever it's feeling like that, it only affects our physical electrical cables. Also affects our wireless connections as the rain is. This kindly exercise patient. All what has been discussing is tending towards having a proper system in place to ensure that active protection systems are adequately managed. He mentioned the various types of active protections as detectors, as systems. Those are actively involved in helping us to extinguish fire. Also be reminded that this aspect talks about the inventory. We're looking at the inventory analysis aspect of the inventory analysis. That is, after there's a fire, we have active protection and a passive protection. So the active protections are those ones that are directly involved in the extinguishing fire, one way or the other, whether through human intervention or not. Such as the smoke detector will detect that there's a fire, is directly relating to the fire, such as the sprinkler system is directly relating to the fire, and your piping system, your alarm systems. These are examples of your active protections, even though they have the limitation of human interference, based on what is about. But regardless of that, there is also need for us to ensure that these active protections are available, not only available, they are active, and not only active, they will respond when needed. There's what we call failure mode effect analysis in FMEA, in process safety. It has to do with how do we ensure that there is a reliability. I think they are like Cs, functionality, reliability, accessibility. So there's a way they do the calculation and the test the response time of both the detector at what level, how fast the smoke detector detects a fire, and how fast will it send the signal, how quickly send the signal to the spot, to the panel that will send the signal to the extinguishing system. Maybe you are using FM200 or you are using a system for water. How fast will they respond? And also this design is also relating to the volume of what you have preserved to extinguish the fire. Maybe you are using CO2, you are using the whatever you are using, maybe the DCP, you are using water. What volume of water? All this will have been done at the design stage of your project. At the design stage, you have designed, okay, at what is the maximum volume of water that we might need, what maximum level of fire we will have in our facility, and what is the maximum volume of water that will be needed. It's just that maybe everything is working well. Then you have maybe like just 200 liters of water available, and your 200 liters of water is not capable based on your risk assessment, based on your fire risk assessment. Within your area, the 200 liters is not suitable. Also, it has to do with the connection with other external factors. In our ISO, we talk about external parties and the likes. How do you link with them, the fire service? So all this is just towards the active protection system. And I think he's back. Mr. Akinwale, are you back?
Yes, I'm back, please.
All right, sorry, I use that button just to ensure that we have something to say while you left. Please, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you allow me share, please? Since
Okay.
you disabled. So sorry, everybody. I'm already struggling with the network here.
I guess. Where are you? Which part of the world are you? Are you in Sambisa?
No. I'm in Lagos.
Our dear Lagos, I beg, we won't believe you. We have to audit you.
No, I'm in Lagos for now. Okay. Please let me know when my screen is up.
It's on, sir. It's on, sir.
Okay, good. So so this is some of the incident that's happened. I mean, some of us are close to in Lagos Island. We know how close the buildings are. That even if you want to go to another building, you need to pass through the passage of one building. So the buildings are closely packed together. And so this makes easy spreading of fire. So once the house is on fire, before you know it, before you have the intervention, 2, 3, 4 houses are already on fire, and it becomes a big thing. So this is where we have found ourselves. So I just have a couple of questions here, just to provoke our thinking a little bit. Now, how many of us live in houses with installed smoke, flame, or heat detectors? Whether it be a portable one, whether it be a wired one, whether it's conventional or addressable. How many of us live in homes like that? And do we see it as important for us to actually have these devices installed in our homes, in our children's rooms, in our kitchen, in our sitting rooms? Are fire alarms meant for industries and public facilities alone? These are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. As your present installer done your installation against standards? For some of us who are in the industries, who are safety managers, who are safety officers, have we tried to have a discussion, or check whatever our installers have done for us is actually against world-class standards? Are you even aware of the standards? These are some of the things that I want us to actually think about and answer. You don't need to give me the answers, but you need to put your answers somewhere, and answer them yourself. Then what does the building code say? How many of us are even aware that we have a national building code and it has a lot of safety measures embedded in it? So there's a lot for us to actually say. Now, moving to the passive parts, passive protection, this is actually a beautiful one, and this is where we'll actually be doing most of our discussion today. So passive fire protection, is a kind of a systems that are incorporated into buildings or structures that slows or impedes the spread of the effect of fire. And in the course of my my traveling around, I saw where this actually works, whereby a particular section of a house, is actually on fire, and it doesn't spread to any other parts of that building. And this is applicable in so many for both high-rise buildings, small buildings, buildings with a small number of occupants, a small number of spaces, demarcations, beautiful thing. So I saw this and I feel, wow, this is nice, and this is something that we need to actually incorporate into our buildings. So the passive fire protection are components or systems of a building or structure that allows or impedes the spread of fire without system activation, and usually without movement. Built into the structure of the building, PFP is about preventing the spread of fire, containing fire to compartments. In a situation whereby, like I said, a building that has about 6-7 stories, and a particular part of a story is on fire, and it does not spread beyond there. It will keep burning, and gives you the ample time for you to actually fight it. It's not as a fire is already burning in room 1, it has spread to room 2, the whole floor is on fire, it has spread to second floor, spread to third floor within few minutes. These are some of the innovations, and these are some of the energies that people outside or people in some climes are actually embracing, and this is where the future of fire protection is. Not only does PFP aim to reduce possible physical and financial damage to a building, PFP can safeguard users of the building and provide safe exit routes. And you can see the structure I have here. I will explain this later on, in the course of the section. So if you look at what I have here, the picture I have here, you can see there's a fire burning, as in really burning in a part of this building. This building, they are both on the same, these rooms are both on the same floor. And fire is burning in one, like real burning. But the other room is as calm, no smoke, no flame, it's seen there. And before it breaks down the walls, or before it actually defeats the rating of the wall, of course, intervention would have actually come in here. But you can see what's happening. This is just a pictorial view of PFP explained. There are many great components to PFP, from internal fire doors and shutters to structural firewalls, and dampers. The key to the foundations of many PFP solutions are creating compartments. I mentioned that earlier on, designed to isolate fires and prevent spread. I know I'm speaking a lot of English around compartments, around the spread of fire. I will explain how this is made possible, and how we as professionals need to start thinking in the line of a passive fire protection. I will explain that. So what's actually expected of us? A building or part of a building comprising one or more rooms, spaces, or storage constructed to prevent the spread of fire. Sorry, I'm back again. Okay. So, and this compartment can be done, by three main methods. We have the ones we call the cavity barriers, void spaces within walls, above ceilings, or below suspended floors, fitted with fire-stopping materials. We have the penetration ceiling. For some of us who are into facilities, for those who are into building, construction, civil works, you will understand better when we talk about these cavity barriers. For those who are into pipings, sewage pipings, all these actually come together when you are talking about creating compartments for a building. Compartmentalization buildings and ceiling cavity to prevent the spread of fire. That's talking about penetration ceiling. The last one is fire compounding. This is substituting when materials have penetrations pass through, such as wires and pipe works. Because the fact that a building, we all know what goes into a building. We have cables that move from one place to the other. We have pipe works, that needs to move from one part of the building to the other. All these come into play. Proper designs, when we are doing compartments in a passive fire protection. Maybe one of these days, in another settings, I will explain more, about compartmentation itself. It's quite a wide field, that we can all learn to, and there are things that we can actually all relate to, Many PFP components are fire resistant. The ability of construction elements, doors, floors, walls, to withstand and resist fire for a period of time. The three main ways of resisting, including resisting structural collapse, resisting passage of smoke and hot gases, that's talking about integrity, and resisting heat conduction from one part of the building to the other. So all these form part of what makes the passive fire protection. And now it's also important for me to state that it's not all the PFP elements that has all these three capabilities, but it's very, very important that we know exactly, what are we trying to protect here? What is the risk here that we're actually dealing with, so that will actually guide us in providing the best solution when we're having our PFP program. Now, trying to make a comparison between active and passive. Active and passive forms of fire protections vary according to activation. So in as much as it is important for us to have the active fire protection in place, it's also important for us to have the passive fire protection in place. And it takes away the dependency on man or intervention from someone before it actually gets activated. So active fire protection requires action in the event of a fire, whereas PFP is a fire protection system whereby no manual automatic intervention is required, because it's actually part of the structure of the building. This dichotomy is also seen as a difference between preventing spread, damage of fire, which is PFP, and the actual reduction and putting out of the fire, which is the AFP. I mentioned some of the examples of the AFP earlier when I mentioned about the fire extinguishers, your sprinklers and things like that. Although one may overlook the need for PFP systems if a building has adequate AFP components, the two systems are most effective when used together. We have situations whereby sprinkler fails. You expect a sprinkler to come up, when there's an incident, and you'll be surprised that the sprinkler does not come up. And in fact, it's quite that sometimes, you just finish servicing and everything seems fine. And when it comes to the time whereby you need this equipment to deliver, it just messes up. And you'll be wondering that, what has my video people done this time around? So if sprinkler fail, the spread of fire is contained by the PFP compartmenting. If fire starts and is eventually contained by PFP, then AFP systems can then put out the fire. So it's very, very important that we have these two systems incorporated into our fire prevention program. Now, if you look at the buildings, I would like to look at our industries, for example. I look at some areas whereby I feel that there are priorities, when it comes to the passive protection.
Please kindly exercise patience. I think we lost him again. He's back.
So sorry, everybody. So I was trying to make and I would like contribution from everybody now. So where are the areas that we feel that looking at your own workspace, looking at your own environment, where are the areas that you feel that we can have, the PFP? Any
I think we lost our speaker again. I would advise if you change the network. So I think where he is now is the kind, where are those areas? I don't really get it clear where he is actually, but I think from the comment I'm seeing here, I think where are those areas that you might require a high level of both active and passive protection. And I can see some comments about warehouse. Yes, it's very important. And one of those critical areas is the control room and the panel room. And it is due to the fact that those the control room, the panel room are areas that other units, other processes depends on them. Like high voltage electrical switch room, very correct, because it controls the electrical power. The emergency room, all these areas require high level protection, and include where we have highly flammable materials like the PMF, the AGU, or where we used to have high concentration of people working there. For example, if you remember the accident that happened, the Fiber IFA, but I think it's back here. Thank you. Are you back, sir? Mr. Money. Mr. Money.
Yes, I'm back.
So,
I'm so sorry, please. Just
sorry,
pardon me
do you have
today. I don't
another
really know what's wrong.
network apart from the network that you are using? Maybe you can change
The
it.
other network I have, yeah, it's no, it won't really work. It's
Okay.
even worse.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
all right, let's go
so
ahead.
let me just quickly round up. So I asked about I think I've gotten okay, Mr. Tunde Afolabi's hands is up.
All right, Mr. Tunde Afolabi, please kindly unmute.
Hello, Mr. Tunde, you can go ahead, please. Hello, can anybody hear me, please?
Can hear you, please go ahead.
Hello.
We can hear you, please go ahead.
Okay. All right, so let me just round this up. So another one of the things, one of the criteria to success of how this has been actually implemented in some other countries is the fact that there's a government intervention. There's people can see the government has created the environment, created the laws, that people are meant to actually comply with when they are building structures. And as I try to say, do we have such document from the Nigerian government? And discovered that yes, we do. And I was able to take out some part of it. You can see 2.48 says fire compartment. So I mean an enclosed space in a building that is separated from all other parts of the building by enclosing construction by enclosing construction, providing a fire separation, having a required fire resistance rating. And talks about fire grading too, fire stopping, fire walls. So these are some of the things that, you know, the National Building Code actually have in them. But how many of us are even aware of this? How many of our so-called builders are aware of this? And if they are, you know, how is the enforcement to ensure that these buildings, you know, that are being put up at different areas, you know, are
I think, Mr. Alawala, are you there? Mr. Akinwale, are you there? Mr. Akinwale, are you there? Hello, Mr. Akinwale. So he's talking about the National Building Code, and which is a code that has been established by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it talks about fire compartment. It tells you that there is we have our guideline. With respect to
it's crazy.
okay. Can you show them now?
Yes, I'm on now.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just round this up. So with all these talks about the active fire prevention and the passive fire prevention, you know, how do we now start implementing this in our workplace? So the first thing that we need to do as safety professionals, as responsible persons, is to carry out a detailed fire risk assessment of our facilities. Whether be it a green field or whether be it a brown field, it's important that there's a detailed fire risk assessment, you know, where all these risks will be identified. And I do tell my colleagues, HSE job has gone beyond just performing DHA for a contractor. You know, it is very, very important that we as safety professionals start getting involved in designing, you know, we need to understand how designs are ever made. We need to have our input. Yes, I know that the culture is different from one.
Am I the one who only one can't hear him because I can't hear him from here?
Same here, Mr. Wali.
Okay, I think his network is not friendly today.
He's having a bad network, I think.
So it's important that we get an accredited fire expert to be the one to actually do our fire risk assessment for us. I've seen traditional advice as a safety professionals, we want to do our fire risk assessment ourselves. Fire risk assessment is different from the conventional risk assessment. So it's important that we actually get an authorized person to do this for us. They identify the area with the high risk value and implement compartment. Where you can do compartment, looking at the risks that you have there, the activities that are happening there. Do you have your room here? Do you have your MCC room here? You just understand, okay, fine, what are the possible things that can go wrong here? Important for, like I mentioned earlier also, it's important for safety professionals to start getting involved in the building designs and material selections. Not performing GHA for contractors only. Have the building code added. It's also important that we understand the building code ourselves. There's some very important things inside this building code. Even if at the end of the day, the management might not accept it, but it's very, very important that at least that you have done your part by bringing this to the forefront. Get the technical team to start getting inclined towards safety. I think this will also help. When you call them to the party, when they are trained, they will actually be the advocate of implementing all this, because we all know the loss that comes from a fire incident. In the course of my career for over 15 years, at least I've been part of 2 major fire incidents. I can tell you that it is not something that a professional, a young professional would like. We actually like to face, because it is consuming, it is challenging, it is demoralizing, and all this can be prevented when we have this proper fire protection program in place. Then also, it is very, very important that our governments start making enforcement a priority. So for some of us who have direct link to the government, who have people in the government, it's always because it's a discussion that we need to start bringing to the forefront. It will take a while for us to be there, but it's something that we need to start talking about. Then ensure only competent and certified installers are used for both your active and passive fire protection. Demand their certificates. Understand the standards yourself, and this will go a long way. Lastly, you are the responsible person, so it's important that you take responsibilities. Don't say, I'm not in the engineering department, I'm not in technical department, so it's none of my business. If there's a fire in the facility, and there's a failure, you'll be called upon as a safety manager, as a safety officer, or the facilitator, or whatever role that you have, in the organization. Thank you, and that'll be all for me.
Thank you very much, sir. Such a concise presentation. Even though we had some unfriendly issues with the network, it has been a very good one. Thank you all for being a part of this. So quickly, we'll move to the question and answer session. And one of those questions that was asked is from Mr. Timindaya Williams, which he asked that, what kind of fire system can you recommend for panel control room?
Okay, so please, Waliu, please, can you come again with the question? I didn't get it.
I said, what kind of fire system do you recommend for a panel control room?
A panel control room?
Yes, panel control room.
Like an MCC room? Yes, like an MCC room.
Yes, like an MCC room.
Okay, so just like I mentioned, is the combination of both the active fire protection and the passive fire protection. So you have your detectors in place, you have your FM 200 installed, you have your walls. Your walls should be fireproof. Your doors to that place should be fireproof. So even if there's fire in any other place, that because that is like your panel room is like the heartbeat of the organization. It controls your machines, it controls virtually everything that's to do with it. So it needs to be well protected, So the combination of both the active and the passive is what I would suggest for such an environment.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Do you have any other contribution, any other question? This presentation will definitely have a form of continuity, because it's a very crucial part of every industry when it comes to fire protection. And like he rightly said, fire protection starts from the design stage. That is why we need to be engaged as professionals at the design stage of our facilities. Also to engage, to encourage our project managers, to encourage our project engineers to also, and clients to also make sure that at the design stage, not when they want to start converting the brownfield to greenfield or from greenfield to facility, then they start engaging professionals to prevent accidents. At the design stage of the project, safety, which is also part of what is in the fire code that was shared with us. We have a lot of construction codes that has to do with protection. So at the design stage, we need to safety need to be implemented. Also, part of the discussion has been, even when we know that they need to implement, another thing is to know what to do, what they should implement, and that is why we have this kind of a discussion. And I believe that we'll still have a part 2 of this, because he made mention of passive protections and active protection, and I was trying to make reference to the Piper Alpha accident that I believe most of us are aware. We know that particular accident that happened so many years ago. It should have been a good example to use for passive and the limitations of both passive and active, and how they work together, like our speaker rightly said. I think Dr. Joe has something to say. Please, can you unmute yourself, sir? Dr. Joe, please, can you unmute, sir?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, it's just a question. I was about typing, but I'm checking the time. I really want to understand if Mr. Akanwale can help me with this. In a generator room or a room that is like a storage, battery storage room that needed ventilation, what kind of fire protection arrangement that can be suitable for such place when you talk about passive approach and active? Which one is the best? Because I understand from what he said that fire compartments and all that as a passive approach by which the fire can be combated before it's spread out. So in that kind of 2 scenario, generator room, I understand it's quite important that there should be ventilation. In a battery storage area, there should also be ventilation to prevent explosion. What kind of fire prevention approach can be used in such?
The explosion is relating to what? Which explosion?
Yeah, well, the message or the question is a battery storage room or a place that is designed for a battery storage, or where a charging point, for example, a forklift charging point, that there will be a lot of battery. So it's not encouraged that the place should be sealed up, right? There should be ventilation, a way of ventilation. So I'm looking at how will a passive measure will work in such a situation when he encourages that we should think of active and passive, arrangement. I hope you understand my question.
I understand.
Okay, sir. Can I come in, sir?
Wale, will you answer that? Okay, Mr. Adifela, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, let me just quickly come in before the presenter come up with that. In a battery room, that is, you'll need your fire rating walls, as he has mentioned, at least to be 2 hours. And any fire that is above 45 minutes or 1 hour is already an inferno. And then inside that battery room again, there is a suppression system, just like FM200, but it's called Fire Pro. It's more effective on machines. It operates with like a FM200, but it doesn't have pipes. You have the connection to all the actuators. And I think some of those, just go and Google search for Fire Pro. Is very good for generator room, and then you have every part that the cable comes into there. Make sure you have a fire seal so that there won't be any fire spreading from the generator room to others. The fire rating wall is just to contain the fire so that it will not spread while the active system you install is combating the fire. I think I've made the point there. Thank you, sir.
And I think that is very concise and very clear. Thank you very much, Chair. Dr. Joe, I hope that is clear, sir.
Yes, I heard him clearly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you for the feedback. We hope to have other sessions coming. And kindly be reminded that these has been put forward and are compiled together by a Courthouse Safety Consult for all your management training and civic training needs in your workplace. You can contact us at any point in time. Thank you all for being a part of this. And we also have some upcoming trainings for individuals. We have them pre-recorded. In case you might be interested, you might always let us know. So let's always remember to always stay safe, to always ensure that we put safety at all times, to always ensure that we proactively check our workplace, develop programs, carry out follow-ups on our established programs, and ensure proper implementation, review our systems, review our management systems, approach to ensuring a wonderful safety culture. Let us do it periodically and ensure that when there are differences, we carry out a review and improve on our system. One thing that is constant is always improvement. And we all know that most of our standards always talk about improvement, continual improvement. Let's ensure this is being done at work, at our workplace at every point in time. If you come across our safety podcast, our safety enlightenment section, our safety videos, always remember to watch, share them so that people can continue to learn. Thank you all very much. Mr. Akinwale Omoniyi, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I believe that once we call you for a part 2, I believe that you want to have a record. So maybe the third one will be when we will have the record-breaking moment. So we'll call you for the next one for you to come and give us a continuation of this session. We hope you'll be very much available. So Mr. Akinwale Omoniyi too is also, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Akinwale Omoniyi is also into safety consultancy like ours too, Courthouse Safety Consult. It's into Courthouse Safety is into eye safety concept. Am I correct, sir? So am I correct, Mr. Akinwale Omoniyi? Yeah.
Eye safety HSE concepts.
Eye safety HSE concept. Based on my own belief, I don't. Though the word is in the world of competition, but I believe in the approach of people growing together. So we are all into safety consultancy. For all your safety needs, you can always get in contact with us at every point in time. Thank you all for making it a moment with us. We appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Engineer Abdullah Kolawole. I can see Mr. Shola Shuwels. I can see Mr. Balogun Shitu. I think I saw him some minutes ago. Mr. Adefela, you are always here to always save us from some questions. Always here with us. Thank you so much for being here, Mrs. Miriam. You are always here, Mr. Engineer Sylvester. Even though it's been a while, we've been regular with our webinars. We still have all of you still coming here Julius Wambete, all the way from, I think, Uganda or somewhere in Africa. Mr. Soni Paragasi, every time, always here, all the way from India. Thank you. We have some others from Italy and the likes. It's all about safety, all about sustainability, all about HSC, health, safety, environment, sustainability. We'll also be once in a while extend to, even not once in a while, very soon be extending to issues of ESG. I think that is the trend now. So implementing ESG, how do you go about environment, social, and governance? These are areas of concern as professionals. So please always keep in touch. Mr. Abbott said, Adelano, thanks for coming. Ms. Rhoda Oniyele, Mr. Julius Wambete, Mr. Bakari, Mr. Christopher, everyone, thank you all for coming. See you all again. Is it next week? I'm not sure. But whenever we are coming on again, we hope to see you some other time. Mrs. Rhoda, sorry, Mrs. Rhoda, thank you for coming. See you all some other time. Remember, safety first and nothing else matters. Thank you and God bless you.